Okay, hello everybody. Today's date is February 17th, 2016. It's Thursday. My name is Leslie Williams. I'm in La Jolla, California, which is in San Diego County. Now, this video is going to probably blow your mind, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make it anyways because I think it's essential that we as people, human beings, become informed concerning some of the massive criminality that our government and even international governments are perpetrating against their citizens unwittingly and knowingly. And when I mean unwittingly and knowingly, I mean in reference to the targeted individuals can be unwittingly aware that this is happening to them in reference to having a name for what's happening to them and the responsible parties, and some targets are completely aware. Make no mistake about it, the perpetrators are completely aware of what they're doing, because you can't engage in an action without them being aware that you're engaged in this action in reference to the perpetrators. Hold on. Some of the statements that I'm going to make in this video, the only way that you're going to be able to deliberate if there's any truth to them is to research every description that I state on Google and when appropriate at YouTube, or both, all depending on what statement is made. So you can then take the information and research it, correlate it together in reference to the follow-up and added descriptions, in order to be able to create at least a preliminary prefaced visual representation in your mind through deduction. I'm in San Diego, California, and again, my name is Leslie Williams. I am not implying or stating that these crimes are happening to me, and I'm not stating that they're not. And I'm not saying that they're not. I have to be careful in reference to claiming if they're happening to me or not, because the individuals that are responsible for the described criminal expeditions will use anything that the target individual says against them in court in order to institutionalize them, jail them, and or put them in a county mental health, a illegal syndicated probate control group home, in order to contain the target, in order to contain the exposure, and for monetary exploitation. And so the campaign can continue concerning what's happening to them, and additional crimes can also be implemented towards them in these isolated environments. Make no mistake about it. So the targeted individual has to be creative in reference to what they're exposing. Read between the lines. You know, it's just almost amazing what targeted individuals of this crime can go through, what they do go through, the horrific, almost indescribable criminalities that are being perpetrated against their mind, their bodies, their finances, their lives, their futures, is criminal to the extreme. It is basically an absolute, complete violation of their human rights, their civil rights, their constitutional rights, and most of all, their God-given rights to be free and to not be subject to any type of outside party criminal perpetration. Make no mistake about it, and there are thousands of us all over the internet exposing what's happening to us and exposing the criminalities. Exposing what's happening to us and begging for help. Now, before I segue into the subject matter of this video, I'm going to make two statements. The first being, if anybody approaches me or this area or this property as I'm making this video, or any time thereafter, for every minute that I am on this property in the next 48 hours, it'll be, in fact, in the next 72, it will be directly connected to organized stalking. They're also jamming my cell phone, so if that occurs, whether it be temporary or permanently, it will be directly connected to organized stalking. And another thing I want to state, hold on a second. I'm having a whiteout. I've already forgot what I was going to state. Just bear with me, though. Trust me, watch this video. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, now the second thing I was going to state is that when you continue to hear what the subject matter is of this video, you will immediately conclude just through the hearing of it, let alone before the research, that the only government entities and even there's sub-organized crime, subcontracted organized crime groups that will play a role in these expeditions when they're needed, concerning how they're needed. Okay, the only way that these crimes could happen to a targeted individual within a state, county, city, or town within their designated state is through that state's cooperation. Counties, city, and towns as well, in reference to their local governments and their state governments, including law enforcement. Now, I want you to understand something. When you hear me describe what organized stalking, gang stalking, specific targeted individuals can experience, you're gonna automatically deduce that there are alphabet agencies involved in the criminal expeditions concerning what is happening to them. In-house, there are certain legal mechanisms that they have developed, okay, that protect it. But it still doesn't matter, because the targeted individual is not only being subjected to international and federal crimes, they are also being subjected to state, local, county, and city crimes as well, meaning that those state constitutions and the county, city, and town laws, government laws, penal codes, statutes, and civil codes are being violated. And this is one of the main things that the targeted individual does somewhat have going for them. Because if law enforcement is not investigating at least the organized stalking section of these criminal expeditions, it puts them in conspiracy under the color of authority, gross negligence of duty, and when they're used against the targeted individual, falsified arrest, intentionally, deliberately petitioning the target in a county mental health or an area neighborhood hospital psychiatric floor, setting them up to imply that they're involved in crimes. Okay, these are state, county, city, and town laws that are being broken, which is one thing the targeted individual has going for them in reference to being able to hopefully find one day a law firm or a lawyer that might be able to help them, which in turn might keep some of what's happening to them at least at bay. Now, when it comes to lawyers or law firms, once they become aware of the entire scope of this crime, which would be intimidating to them, and the federal laws, which are criminal to the extreme, they might become intimidated and not pursue any state, county, city, town, or laws that are being broken. But the targeted individual still might look out and find one day. It's still very hard to find one, though, because of the email rerouting, cell phone and landline phone call rerouting. All of our physical mail services are monitored, intercepted, and rerouted. And when you look at what it takes to connect with a lawyer in reference to that lawyer, any lawyer being in their office when the targeted individual will go there, it's extremely difficult to even talk to a lawyer, because of the way lawyers operate within their law firms, whether it be a law firm or just one lawyer pertaining to his own practice. Because most of the time they're not in the office, is what I'm saying, and their receptionist will say, leave your email leave your email account or leave your phone number and we'll get back with you. The perpetrators will hack into that phone and monitor their calls that are received from their end to make sure that all calls the targeted individual makes are rerouted to either a cloned, copied voicemail of that law firm's voice services, or rerouted to them, and they will literally pretend to be the places that the targeted individual is calling. Google it, and you will see I'm telling you the truth. Because the only way that these individuals can perpetrate their criminal realities is to keep the targeted individual isolated within them. Make no mistake about it. What I've already stated just so far can be Googled. Hold on. I hate smoking on video. Hold on. Okay, now, to get into the meat and potatoes of this particular video, I'm going to basically just fly right into what I'm stating. It's all over the internet that targeted individuals can be victims of, but not limited to, non-consensual human experimentation, including military. Now, who would be involved if the military is attached to it? And when you look at university research, non-consensual or not, it is being implicated strongly all over the internet. The DOD, CIA, NSA, okay, DARPA, okay. So I strongly suggest you Google this. and cross-reference it to organized stalking and then gang stalking targets. So, do you really think when you research this, just this aspect of it alone in itself, when you witness what's all over the internet, do you really think that this is coming out of the blue from people who are sharing the same delusion? Thousands of people? So, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to lead you to I'm going to describe some things, give you some links. Those links will disclose to you some information, which you can also state and then further research what it is within the information of each link, so you can try to observe how deep the rabbit hole goes. Hold on. The first thing to go to is go to YouTube and type in Terminator Video Cortex robots. Now, when you type that in, the one that you want to look for, you know how when you bring a YouTube video up but yet you haven't clicked on it yet? Look for the one that shows the image of the Terminator of Terminator 2, and the video still frame has like a reddish in it. That's the one you want to look at. Fellow American citizens, pay close attention to my statements. Target individuals can be neurally implanted with BCI implants, brain-to-computer interface implants, prosthetic implants, which are basically prosthetic implants that can control the physical motor cortex-associated behaviors, their hand, arm, and shoulder movements, including musculatory implants, because muscles are part of the arm and hand. Hold on. They are being used for multiple different research applications in order to have them work with the brain-to-computer interface implant. The brain-to-computer interface implant controls the prosthetic implant, which then sends physical, neurally encoded thought processes to decoded as well to these prosthetic implants, so they can figure out the physiological signals that control the motor cortex associated behaviors, the physical movements of the musculatory system in the arm, hand, and shoulder. Okay, and this is done so they can know how the prosthetic implants will interface with the BCI implants pertaining to the instructions from the brain to the prosthetic implant. And this is done for, supposedly, for research for wounded veterans, people that have lost control of their motor cortex, movements of their arm and hand through whatever type of injury, so they can then regain control of their arm and hands and shoulders because of their injuries. Now, this is what is being advertised pertaining to what it's being used for. But make no mistake about it. When you also look at memory relay chips that can be incorporated within these body intrusions, and how they can play a role in these criminal expeditions, hear me out. Now, for Terminator robots, basically what they will want to do is put all of the EEG signatures, even emotional clusters, physiological signals, the central nervous system, and the entire biological system has already been brain mapped. Make no mistake about it. No matter what you see in any research academia papers online, it has already been done. Probably within the last 50 years. Make no mistake about it. You can also research remote neural monitoring. So basically, with the extreme, and also synthetic biologies, any type of mechanical robot, including creating artificial neural networks, which are basically nothing but artificial neural network software programs that hold all the encoded instructions that are harvested from these implants pertaining to the target individual. So basically what I'm saying is that everything that is taken from the target, the data from the processes, of these implants being put in the target's biology, they are being recorded. They are being harvested. Go to YouTube and type in wires in the brain, mind control, from stopthecrime.net's YouTube channel, and you can also view their webpage as well. You can also go to Google and type in The Matrix Deciphered. So basically what I'm telling you is that basically, whatever the target individual processes in their whole biology can be harvested. They can then create artificial neural networks in order to be able to put those into the software programs. So then these instructions can be then placed within the implanted chips within the robots they use. Now, this should give you enough description pertaining to this one aspect of this subject matter to help you see that the target individual is being basically tortured because of the other aspects of what is happening to them. Let me give you an example. Say you have an individual that's being traumatically traumatized, whether it be an assault of any kind. Everything that is experienced in the brain at that time this assault has taken place, including just psychological mind games that are intentionally brought about against the target that brings anxiety, panic attacks, whatever. These things, as they are occurring, okay, the brain states, the emotional clusters, the EEG signatures, they can be harvested. They can also be cloned, okay, the resonance frequencies of these brain states, the neural pathways, the physiological signals that are experienced as these traumatic events are occurring, okay, can be harvested and cloned, and then retransmitted back to a separate target individual for their mind and body to experience. Now, let me just put it to you this way. Say that one person is being traumatized and they are experiencing extremely intense fear that is almost beyond your mind's dimensions. Fear that makes you tremble and shake uncontrollably. As that is occurring to that individual, and they're harvesting the data that the implants and the body is processing, and the implant is choreographing and harvesting the data from them. They can then be transmitted to another target individual once they are tweaked and transmitted back into a separate target individual's mind and body. Right when that is happening, intense fear to the point where they're shaking, that can be transmitted for a separate target individual to experience in their mind and body as a physical event is being staged for that target individual to experience, so the target individual has lost their ability to critically think and deduce how to get out of it, because the mind and the body is being physiologically, a neurological access has happened for that person to experience another person's intense fear and the physiological reactions as that event was transpiring towards them. Which means that the mind and body will be nothing but experiencing extreme fear to the point to where they're shaking, and their consciousness will also be hijacked to where the mind will not be able to deliberate the current event, so they can deduce how to get out of it or what to do concerning it. Because the mind and body will literally be experiencing a massive amount of fear and physiological reactions that was actually experienced by another human being. So if somebody is attacking you or threatening that they're going to rape you, and you're experiencing somebody's extreme fear that has been transmitted into that target individual's mind at the time that this situation is being brought about, they're not going to be able to critically think about how to get out of it. Have you ever heard that experience, what animals will do? How they'll freeze when a predator has come in their, or they'll play dead. When a predator that is bigger than them, that they are innately hardwired to be fearful of, they will freeze, not move. Same concept. So this means that the target individual might freeze and stand still as somebody is approaching them in order to rape them. Their entire consciousness taken over. Now, the assault will be done for disassociation to fragment the mind, the current mind, and to interlace and infuse that fear into that experience. And then what these filthy little sick maggot rat-ass animal whores will do is possibly even then go back and use remote neural monitoring to stimulate that memory of that event. Memory relays chips. Go to Google and type in remote neural monitoring and memory stimulation. Fellow American citizens, my name is Leslie Williams. I'm in San Diego, California. I make these videos to inform, to expose the truth pertaining to these wild, filthy, maggot, rat-ass animal whores that belong in prison for the rest of their bitch-ass, the remaining amount of their lives. And they're doing this to children as well. Now, one of the mechanisms that they use to keep the target, one of the additional mechanisms, one of the additional techniques that they will use to keep the targeted individual isolated in these campaigns is to create the homelessness of them. Through the cyber surveillance, if they see the targeted individual is making too much trouble in reference to exposing them, reaching out to news agencies, the ACLU, Amnesty International, law firms, and lawyers, through the continued cyber surveillance, they see that the targeted individual is exposing what's happening to them and preparing to reach out for help. Lawyers and law firms or anybody else that might be able to assist them. So what they will do is take the homelessness that they have covertly created for the targeted individual to live in. They will use that against them in order to contain them through the controlled police departments that are within their city and local governments. I.e. GPS tracking of their phones and computers so they can know where the target's at in order to stage a physical interaction between the target and the police so they can be arrested and or ticketed for illegal lodging, trespassing, or encroachment, and then thrown in jail. And make no mistake about it, they will also use judges, district attorneys, prosecutors, and public defenders to make sure that the targeted individual is then steered to an environment that they control under the guise of, we better get this person help, because they can't seem to be helping themselves in reference to getting out of the homelessness, even though these are the connected, filthy, maggot, rat-ass animal whores that created it. And this is done so the target individual can be whisked into an isolated environment that these perpetrators can have absolute control over or are directly connected to, including but not limited to psychiatric floors, prisons, detention centers, county mental health, and organized crime syndicated run group homes, where their freedom and their physical freedom and their financial freedom is completely taken away from them, so the expeditions can continue in an isolated environment that the target is intentionally trapped in. So, fellow American citizens, can you imagine this happening to you? And I strongly suggest you continue to research every single one of the YouTube videos that are dedicated to StopTheCrime.now, StopTheCrime.net's YouTube channels. They have an old one and a new one. And you'll eventually even run across some of Deborah Tavares' YouTube channel videos pertaining to her even exposing this, pertaining to how they can absolutely transmit the cloned emotional clusters, okay, of one person and transmit them into the brain of another, which I've already talked about. You would not believe what I know. You just would not believe this sick, filthy shit that they're literally transmitting into the audio and video cortex of the target. I'm talking about the most vile shit that your mind can conceive and cannot. The people that are responsible for these crimes, you better believe they know they are involved in crimes. And the last thing they want is their friggin' image that they display through history, the news, the papers, and their websites. The sterling image that they have, any alphabet agency that you can think of, including the DOD, they will absolutely do anything to make sure that these heinous crimes are never known in the conscious forefront of local and state communities. Because the news is controlled, okay, through radios, TVs, and newspapers. Make no mistake about it. I gotta go on. My name is Leslie Williams. I'm in San Diego, California. When you research what I've stated in this YouTube video, you will conclude that I'm telling you the truth. There are thousands of targeted individuals all over America, millions worldwide. Go to YouTube and type in United Targeted Individuals Europe extended version to get just watch the whole video. There's a one section in that video that will show you a visual representation pertaining to the BCI implants. Okay. You would not believe, you just would not believe what we experience on a daily basis, and that's not even including the staged bullshit, the mental and menticide harassment we endure every day along our routes. It's sickening. It's sickening. It's just basically sickening. Okay. I apologize if this video is affecting you in any way. Excuse me. But considering the fact of other things that we know concerning these criminal expeditions and why they're actually being done, why target individuals are being used as guinea pigs for them, the entire scope of what we know is not in this video. So it is our humane, human, and spiritual duty to inform, to expose the truth. And you better research what I'm stating. Okay. In closing, go to Google and type in UCSD and Law Library are the networking gang stalking. Part of that blog is still under construction, so you're gonna run into some things that are still being built. And when you see what's being built, and you might not understand it, or you might think to yourself, this shit sounds crazy, do not dismiss it. Just continue to read through the blog. Okay, because there's absolute evidence in this blog pertaining to the gang stalking of me. There's additional information in there pertaining to some of the things that I've talked about and things that you don't even know. So just do it. Please say a prayer for my safety. In closing, I am not involved in any illegal or criminal activity whatsoever. I am not a threat to myself or others and never will be. Okay? I am not mentally ill in any way, shape, or form, and I do know how to take care of myself. Remember these statements. Remember them. Alright, I gotta go. I'm in San Diego, California. My name is Leslie Williams. And make no mistake about it, I'm one tough son of a bitch. If this was happening to you, you would do what you gotta do to stay alive. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a good day, okay?